to enjoy holiday celebrations, enjoy the sweet treat foods that you might be used to, enjoy indulging with family, and still maintain your healthy habits and still maintain your blood sugar and your insulin in a healthy range. Perhaps you've been doing a more healthful diet over the last few months or the last year. Maybe you're doing gluten-free and dairy-free and you've eliminated all the allergens from your diet. Maybe you've gone plant-based, whole foods plant-based. Maybe you've experimented with healthy versions of keto. So now what, right? The holidays are here. We have this issue of temptations at every turn. Maybe not in your own home if you're really conscious, but we go out, right? You go to parties, you go to things at the office, and who's bringing in those holiday special treats? So what do you do? How do you do this? Well, hey, I'm Dr. Rita Marie Loscalzo. Welcome back to the channel where we support health and wellness practitioners to support their clients, to empower their clients to live healthy lifestyles using food and nutrition and lifestyle, exercise, stress management, etc. And it gets tough for all of us at this time of year. It gets tough from a personal perspective when you're seeing everybody indulge in the Christmas cookies and the apple pie and the stuffing and all that, and you're feeling deprived. And I hear that a lot from people. I hear, I can't follow a restrictive diet at this time of year. I'm just going to go off it for a while. And I want to share today how that can be a big mistake and how that could set you back further than you realize. And I also want to share with you how we can stay in that place of insulin and blood sugar balance, and we can maintain those habits that got us there. Or if you're still struggling with it, to get you there without compromising the fun and the celebration and the support that you want to have in celebrating with your friends and your family members. I'm going to take a sip of tea and then we're going to get started. So, blood sugar and insulin. As a little quick review for those of you who are new to this whole concept, what about those things? Why is it important to maintain our insulin and blood sugar balance, especially at this time of year? Guess what? Insulin and blood sugar balance controls everything in your body, all the other hormones, all the systems in your body that you want and you've worked so hard to get healthy. Right around this time, end of the year, beginning of the new year, we call it the cold and flu season. I believe it's not the cold and flu season based on nature. It's the cold and flu season because we've gone astray from nature and we've done things to compromise our health. And that's why people get colds and flus and get sick throughout the winter. It's not because the weather is colder, because guess what? People in warm climates get sick at this time of year too, assuming that they celebrate these holidays. So what can you do? What do you want to do to maintain? The other thing I really want to talk about quickly, so I don't want to bore you with all the sciencey details, but here's what happens when you say just one Christmas cookie. Here's what happens when you say just one piece of apple pie, when you go into the starchier foods that your body's not used to, or that your body is used to. But guess what? It's happening day after day after day. What happens is the immune system gets compromised. Yes, that's right. Those white blood cells and the macrophages that gobble up invaders that help keep us healthy and keep us protected from the invaders, from the viruses and the bacteria and even the funguses and all those sorts of things. They get compromised. They work less well when we're exposed to sugars and starches because of the levels of sugar in the blood and the levels of insulin in the blood. The other thing that happens, and this is scary, is that the white blood cells really need vitamin C in order to do their job. It's one of the critical nutrients that they need. But what happens when we influx the body and raise the blood sugars, even above 120, which is not considered really high, but studies have shown that even when it gets about 120, what happens is the sugar gets into the white blood cells and displaces the vitamin C. And guess what? Immunity plummets. So at this time of year, when we need our immune systems the most, we're compromising them by eating and drinking and doing things that are not supportive, that are not only not supportive, but are dangerous and damaging. So the question comes up a lot is, how can I enjoy this? How can I have fun with my family and not have to restrict myself so much? And people use that word restrictive. Oh, I'm not willing to go on a restrictive diet, especially at this time of year. Restricting things that hurt you is not restrictive. Like most of us would say, restricting smoking cigarettes, restricting, using that word in quotes, taking cocaine, restricting drinking gasoline from the pump. We feed it to our cars, but it's not human consumption. Eating foods that are loaded with toxins and doing things that are toxic. We don't consider those things restrictive. We just think about those things as protecting our health. And what better thing than protecting your health can you do? What's better, that 30 seconds of pleasure on your tongue or the lifetime of healthy living, of energy, of support, of not ending up in the doctor's office, not ending up needing antibiotics, not ending up being sick for days and even sometimes weeks and months on end? You owe it to yourself to support yourself through this season and keep your insulin and blood sugar steady. So, how do we do that? Well, let's look at what causes the blood sugar and the insulin to go out of balance. Sugar, sugar and starches, so food, but not just sugar and starches, it's bad fats, oxidized fats, fats that are out of balance, hydrogenated oils, which is used a lot, Crisco, in those crusts, those pie crusts that we all have come to love. So food is a big piece of it, right? Food. We need whole, fresh, organic foods in order to support your health, in order to keep your insulin and blood sugar steady. So food is a biggie. But what else happens at this time of year? Maybe you're just shopping for that perfect gift for a family member, a loved one. And it's stressful because you're running out of time and you're concerned about the money. And even now, I don't do any go out to the mall kind of things. I just shop online, and we all can do that. But it's still stressful if you allow it to be. What's that perfect gift? Can I fit it in the budget? Oh, I really want to get that for this loved one, but it's going to really blow my budget. So we stress a lot. We sleep less at this time of year because there's so much more to do. Decorate the house. If you do Christmas, getting a Christmas tree and decorating it. If you do Hanukkah, there's 8 days you got to deal with. How are you going to handle the family and the gifts and the guilt and all the stuff that goes with Hanukkah? And all of the holidays have special foods. Special foods. Those special foods that hurt us system. What if we could find alternatives to those? So we have the stress. We have less sleep because we're busier. We have more to do. Most people stop or curtail their exercise program at this time of year because there's no time, or because suddenly it's cold outside and there's some snow and sleet and all that sort of stuff. But the exercise oftentimes goes down. And what can we do instead? How can you protect and support your health and keep your blood sugar steady? If you've been doing intermittent fasting, you may be thinking, how am I going to do intermittent fasting? How am I going to go 16 hours, 18 hours, whatever you're used to doing between meals when, it's like seems to be a constant barrage? It's doable. And I'm going to share with you how you can do that and how you can handle the rest of those concerns and still, guess what? Enjoy delicious holiday treats. I enjoy the holidays. I generally don't make a lot of treats for myself just because I like to eat salads and veggies and all that throughout the year. But at this time of year, I enjoy making Christmas cookies. I enjoy making little candies. I enjoy making pies. I enjoy making special meals for the family. But it doesn't mean that I allow myself to put sugar. It doesn't mean I'm using the old recipes that came from mama and grandma and my own recipes. I have learned over the years to make healthy substitutions. So I can make Christmas cookies in those cool shapes, and I can make Hanukkah cookies in the shapes of dreidels and menorahs and all that. And I did that the other day. I did it live on a session that we do for our Healing Kitchen show every month. And it's the Body Freedom Nutrition Lab Healing Kitchen show. And I did an array of things. You can do it. You have to be willing to learn a few substitutions. We don't have to put sugar in. We don't have to put the maple syrup in. We can substitute those with good foods. We don't have to put the flour in. Lord knows there's plenty of keto baked goods. I'm not a fan of keto baked goods, by the way, because what they do is they include higher fat foods and then they heat them at high temperatures, which causes oxidation of those fats. But I have my own ways of making that. I have my ways of making it using a food dehydrator or using an oven that's set at a very low temperature so it doesn't destroy the enzymes. It doesn't destroy the fats. You can do this. It is totally possible, and you can do it without feeling deprived. I posted some photos on my Facebook page the other day, and you could see the kind of things I make, cannolis and cookies and candies and manicotti, which is my Italian heritage. That's what we usually do on Christmas Eve. You can do this. You just have to find the resources. You just have to be willing. And that's a big part. You have to be willing to do a little extra work to seek out the recipes. We have tons of them. We're doing a Healthy Holidays bundle right now where for $25, you're getting 25 of my recipe guides and my videos and all the things to support you through this season and into the new year. So we'll put the link in the comments. Just put a note in the comments that you want to see it. We'll put it in there and we'll make sure that we put it on all of our places because we're cross-promoting. We're broadcasting this on YouTube and Facebook and Facebook groups and all that. So we'll put that there. Just put it in there in the comments and we'll make sure that we put it in there. But we'll put it in all of those just because it's special. Here's the other thing. When you say just the one cookie, when you say just the tiny sliver of pie, you know as well as I do what happens if you've ever had issues with emotional eating or binge eating. You know that one cookie turns into 2 or 3 or 4. You know that little sliver of pie, and you go back and you don't actually take another piece on your plate because you're kind of sneaky and tricky that way, tricking yourself as well as everybody who's watching. You slice another piece, or you go in there with your fork or your spoon, and you just take another bite and another bite. What happens is it sets you off. It sets off that sugar craving, and then it's really hard to stop. It's really hard to slow down. So let me tell you a quick story about something that happened to me recently, and it was a shocker. I was away. I was at a really nice resort with a group of people who are other health practitioners, and we had this meal that they just kept bringing you out little things, and they checked with me on my food sensitivities and my preferences, and they would bring things out, and the food was delicious. It was impeccable. At one of the courses, they didn't bring me anything. And they said to me, well, I said to them, why didn't you bring me? It was a soup course. Though, why didn't you bring me the soup? They said, sorry, ma'am, but you said you can't eat corn. And it's a corn soup. It's a creamy corn soup. I said, oh, is there dairy in it? In which case I would have said absolutely no, because I know how sensitive I am. And they said, no, it's just corn, fresh corn that's blended up and all these great spices added to it. And part of me got the better of me. And I said, okay, just bring it to me. I'll just taste it. I'm not allergic to corn. I just prefer not to eat too much of it because it raises my blood sugar. It's a high glycemic food. So they brought out the bowl, and I took a spoonful and I fell in love. I fell in love with that soup. It was so delicious. It had just the right seasonings. And I said, oh, I'll just take a second. And I said, I'll take a third. And I ended up finishing the soup. Now, what happened after that was, yeah, my blood sugar went up. It didn't go up terribly high, but it went up to about 140, which is too high. And it's causing a surge of insulin and blood sugar. That wasn't the bad part. The bad part was after I finished that meal, I wanted more food. It set up this craving, and I actually wanted more starchy or sweet food. And then the next day, the same thing. And it really was making that willpower so difficult. I usually don't have to have willpower because I don't consume those things that cause my sugars to go crazy and the cravings to end up elevating. Here's the thing, it's not your fault that you get that way. It's a biochemical reaction in the body. When the insulin levels go up like that, we end up wanting more food. We end up wanting to fill in the gaps and eat more. It's a biochemical reaction. So don't be hard on yourself. But where you have to make the change is, like they say for the drugs to the kids, right? Just say no. You have to know your limits and you have to know what your quote unquote binge foods are. And corn has always been one of those for me. I used to love corn chips. I just would eat them and I would get the oil-free corn chips to be better. But I still had the same response. I love corn, love eating corn. So I have to know that that's what I can't do. So getting back to the whole holiday season, what happens if you have that one cookie or that one piece of pie? Most likely it's not going to stop there, unless you've been really dedicated for a really long time and you have great willpower. I'm dedicated. I am totally dedicated. I have been doing a healthy, whole foods, plant-based diet for 35 years, maybe a little longer. Yet still, it got me. It still got me. And it sent me into this, I just want to eat more. I just want to eat more. I just want to eat more. Even to the point of getting to the airport to leave the next day. And I found this chocolate bar that was sweetened. It didn't have sugar in it. It was sweetened with maltitol, which is one of the sugar alcohols. And I know maltitol is not really that good, but it's not sugar. And I said, okay, what the heck? And it didn't set me off or anything, but I wanted it and I ate the whole bar. I ate the whole bar. And then I was still wanting more. And I bought a bag of nuts at the airport. And the nuts, I typically don't eat nuts that have that are roasted in any kind of oil. But this said it was roasted in coconut oil rather than the hydrogenated garbage oils that they typically use. So I thought, a little bit. I ate the whole bag. Okay. So not a good thing and all of that started from eating the corn soup. All of that. So I don't want that to happen to you. I don't want you to be like going into a binge. I'm just going to have one cookie. Resist. So learn how to make some healthier versions of cookies. I have cookies that I make with ground up nuts or seeds and hemp seeds, which are loaded with omega-3 fats. And then I sweeten them with stevia or lohan or something that's not going to set off the sugar and put all kinds of good herbs in it. I made a cookie the other day. This was my first time making it. I put into the food processor cauliflower, zucchini, and cabbage. And I mixed it with these nuts and seeds and gingerbread spices and a little bit of stevia to sweeten it. And I think I put coconut in there because it gives it a natural sweetness. And I made these cookies. I'll post a picture on Facebook. I have these pictures of these cool little cookies, gingerbread men and stars and all sorts of things. So it's not hard to do. You'll see recipes like that in our holiday bundle. We have a book that normally sells for $27. It's a 200-page book or close to it of healthy holiday traditions, it's called. And it's got all the recipes that I've made over time. I even made Substitutes for latkes if you happen to celebrate Hanukkah. And my husband's going to make latkes for the kids on Thursday. It's all potatoes, very high fat. He's made a really much healthier version, not so much high fat. But I learned to make shredded broccoli stems, shredded daikon, and adding tahini to hold it together, or it could be any kind of nut or seed butter. And the onion, which is the big flavor thing, and I slow cook in the dehydrator. But I've also made them in the oven for my kids, right, years ago. And you just basically put them together. You put them in the oven, you leave them in there for a while. You don't put it at super high temperatures, and you can make these amazing things. My kids didn't realize that I'd made them that way, and I was serving them, and we had the candles lit and we had the lights dim. These were when they were quite little. And I served them and they're like, great. And then they finished dinner, and then we're cleaning up the kitchen and putting everything together. And they're like, Mom, why are these latkes have a green tinge to them? Oh, I had to admit it then that I had put broccoli in there. But it worked. I mean, it was such a pleasant experience, and they didn't know it until they saw the green. So the trick is, if you're trying to sneak some of this stuff into your family, dim the lights. Dim the lights. Okay, let me see what else I wanted to say. We talked about street. We asked about that. Yeah, so here's the deal. We're here to support you. Subscribe to the channel, and you'll get a lot more videos like that. Look at the link that we'll put in the comments, and check out our food thing. Okay, so check out our holiday bundle and learn how to make these foods, not just at the holidays, but learn how to make these healthy substitutions so you don't get thrown off your wagon and thrown out into the, oh my God, the binges have started again. I don't want that for you, because I know how it feels. I didn't like it when those things kept happening to me. So insulin, blood sugar, always important to keep balanced. And when you keep them balanced, you're not going to get that extra pooch around the middle like most people do at the holidays. It's averaged, people gain anywhere from 5 to 15 pounds at this time of year. And then, of course, there's the New Year's resolutions, which usually don't stick. And most people year after year end up gaining, even though they go on whatever kind of restrictive diet after that, they end up gaining. You don't want that. The other statistic, very scary statistic I heard about the other day, is that at the end of December, we have the highest incidence of cardiovascular accidents. So basically, heart attacks, right? If you check in the stats of the emergency rooms and all, that's when we have the highest incidence of heart attacks. So you don't want that. And I haven't looked at strokes, but I would imagine that strokes might be up there too. You don't want to put yourself at risk, especially if you have any kind of family history of cardiovascular disease. Let's take charge. You take charge. I want you to just really think about how you can make a difference, how you can support your family in making a difference. You're not helping your dad or your mom who may have already developed some kind of Alzheimer's or diabetes. You're not helping them by giving them all their favorite foods. You're actually hurting them. So take charge. Check out for other videos that we've made, and I enjoy your holidays. Enjoy the festivities of the season. Okay. And with much love, take care, and we'll see you on the next one.